I don't know about you guys, but I'm a bit bummed about the performance of ARK Invest ETFs. Up until 2021, ARK was on fire and Cathie was the goddess. 2021, a different story. ARK is down 2.3% so far. So I started investigating ARK ETFs a bit more to validate if I still stand by the ETFs or should I be thinking differently. I want to share something really interesting and talk about how we could potentially outperform ARK's signature ETF, ARKK. Hey guys, welcome to Think Finance. My name is Raj, and on this channel, I talk about personal finance, investment ideas, and money. As some of you know, I support Cathie Wood and her company, Ark Invest. I understand her investment style, focus on innovation, and a longer time horizon. With S&P up 20% year to date and NASDAQ up 17%, it is a bit depressing to see ARK down 2.3% for the year. I have a decent amount of allocation into ARKK, so I've been watching this closely. In this video, I want to share some interesting findings I came across about the ARK ETFs and how we could potentially outperform ARK on their home turf.
ARK is a global investment firm, and we are focused only on disruptive innovation. That's our sole focus. We believe that investors are missing out on some amazing opportunities out there just because of how the traditional financial world is set up. It's very siloed and specialized.
Innovation is the name of the game. You won't find many names like Microsoft or Amazon in her portfolio. She is on a mission to find the next Amazon. Philosophy is that innovation is mostly misunderstood. Most managers focus on valuation. Cathie focuses on innovation. She is looking for companies that may be struggling today but are on track to produce exponential growth 5 to 10 years from now. For example, Tesla. Few years back, when most struggled to understand Tesla, she put a huge stake in the company. Indeed, Tesla is a core holding for a number of ARK ETFs. We all know where Tesla is today. While most have questioned her philosophy and investment approach, the strategy has worked. If you ignore 2021, ARKK has returned an average 35% since inception. So, I still believe in her investment style, and I think having 10 to 20% in ARK is not a bad idea. If they are right, it could offer exponential returns. As of today, 10% of my portfolio is in ARKK. Given I have a vested interest in ARK and it's been beaten down in 2020, a question came to my mind. What if, instead of investing in actual ARK ETFs, I invested in specific Cathie stocks? Would I be better off? If you look at ARK's ETFs closely, they invest in few core names. These are their high conviction investments and usually make 30% of the overall allocation. For example, top 5 holdings in ARKK make 30% of the allocation. When these drop big, you will see ARK buying the dip by selling other positions in the portfolio. And it makes sense. You want to double down on investments that you consider core when they are on sale. For my portfolio, when markets drop big, I will buy the dip and move money into leveraged ETFs, which I consider core. By the way, there is a link in the description if you want to see where I'm invested. The question is, what if we just invested only in ARK's high conviction stocks? I decided to put this to test. let's look at the 6 ARK ETFs. For the purpose of this exercise, I took only the top 3 positions from each ETF, ignored any repeats, and ignored any position that did not have a reasonable history, like GBTC, which they recently added. $10,000 is the base investment and no increment cash is added. I'll call this the core portfolio. As of July 2021, S&P returned 17%. ARK was down 3.6%. Core portfolio was up 9.2%, which means if we invested in just the 3 core positions from each ARK ETFs, we would have been better off. One can argue that 1 year is not a good measure of performance, and that makes sense. Here's the data from 2017 through 2021. 2017 is as far as I can go given the data limitations. For the period, S&P returned an average 18% annually. ARK did a handsome 41%, but core portfolio returned 61% annually. Pretty darn impressive. Both S&P and ARK offer some dividend. The current model assumes that dividend is reinvested. See, that is not fair to the core portfolio since there's no dividend. From a comparison perspective, it is only fair to not reinvest dividends. If you do that, performance looks even better for the core portfolio. There's one final twist to this comparison. ARKK typically maintains the planned allocation of a position, meaning they will often rebalance to ensure that they hold a position close to the planned allocation. For example, if Tesla hits 11% of the allocation, they will sell some to bring the allocation down to the planned levels. So, to do the comparison right, we should rebalance as well. To manage taxes, let's say we rebalance the core portfolio annually. The story continues to get better, with core portfolio returning 66% annually compared to 39% for ARKK. All of this sounds interesting. The question is, how can we use this to make some money? Obviously, the core portfolio did way better compared to the actual ARK ETFs. Does that mean you should just dump ARKK and invest only in core stocks? Maybe, and in theory, it should work since they are considered high conviction. But there's a lot more to it than just buying high conviction stocks. There's a decent amount of thinking, research, and strategy that goes behind ARK's decision making. I think at the very least, it makes sense to take a closer look at these core names that do the heavy lifting for ARK ETFs, understand the business and reasons why ARK considers them as core. And finally, might be worth investing in some of these as part of your overall portfolio. Of that core list, I'm only invested in Square and Tesla. Maybe I'll do some research on the other names. Of course, ARK is one of my core holdings. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned a thing or two about ARK. Thoughts, comments? Until next time, peace.